Hello, friends. Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. I hope you're doing well. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. I am happy to be joining you tonight. I'm going to be saying the word happy quite a bit, I guess. Anyway, I am enjoying a bowl of Haunted Bookshop in the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition here on the Friday night live stream. And yeah, let's just get into it. Busy week and TGIF, as the kids say. So let's see. There's our buddy Stanley Smith. Good to see you, Stanley. Steve Russell, Smarty Bob, Patrick Grant. Hello there, Patrick, and White Ash Piper. Can I just call you White Ash squared? I'm having trouble with my words tonight, apparently. Let's see. Sigma Man Tony from Rhode Island. How's it going, Tony? And there's Pipe Ninja. You're too kind, my friend. Big Dave. Smarty Bob. Might have saw you earlier, but good to see you anyway. Gary Edminster. Poem. And heard the ho ho ho. It's still doing the ho ho ho? I thought I fixed the ho ho ho. Did anyone else hear the ho ho ho? Oh boy. Michael Case. How you doing, Michael? Gary Edminster, you heard the ho 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 too? I'm so confused. I really thought I got rid of the ho ho ho. All right, it's taken on a life of its own. Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy, how you doing, Steve? Kathy, I hope you're doing well. Just saw earlier, late this afternoon, earlier this evening, saw the news that Miss Kathy had a surgical procedure, and she's apparently doing well, according to Steve. But our prayers and thoughts are with you guys both. So glad to hear Kathy went through the procedure well. Let's see. The Tunnel Take. How's it going, Greg? And Armchair Piper. Hello there, Ed. Good to see you. What am I drinking? Asks Smarty Bob. I am drinking another gin and tonic. And, yeah, I got a problem with the gin and tonic that I'll tell you about shortly. Todd Munson. How you doing, Todd? So I was making the gin and tonic tonight, and I'm out of gin. That was my last shot of gin that went into this gin and tonic. And, okay, I'm out of gin. But then I realized, you got to buy tonic water and gin. And I buy the tonic water in 1 liter bottles because it goes flat if you buy it in bigger bottles. But 1 liter isn't really enough, so I buy 2 1-liter bottles. So now I'm out of gin, and I have 1.5 liters of tonic water. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go buy more gin. That's not enough tonic water to last. But you see where I'm going with this. This is a problem. They should sell them in unit amounts so that it's like hot dogs. When you buy hot dogs, you never get as many buns as hot dogs, or at least you didn't used to. I don't know if they changed that. It's been a long time since I bought hot dogs, but yeah, there we go. Smarty Bob's also drinking a gin and tonic, but his glass is not that big. Well, you got to move on up, Bob. Let's see. Gary Edmondster's got a Coors Light going with his large alpha and his own blend. Nice. So, yeah, and just for the record, this is about 70% ice. Well, that's not fair. It's probably about 50% ice. And the remaining 50% is split roughly equal parts of lime, gin, and tonic. Oh, great to hear that, Miss Kathy. So she says, doing better, not completely pain-free, but it is much better. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, and you just relax there and get well. Listen to what your doctor tells you to do, and I know you will, because you're one of them people that tell people what to do in your profession. So you know to listen. So take care of yourself, Kathy. Bona Piper, how you doing, Christian? Good evening to you, sir. I've already let my haunted bookshop go out because I was ranting about gin and hot dogs. Doug Owen, how you doing, Doug? Yes, rest in peace, Randy Meisner. There's one less eagle in the world. So, Mrs. CaneRod went to Pittsburgh on last Saturday. I think that's true. Maybe it was Sunday. I don't remember when she left. She left sometime over the weekend. And yeah, there'll be a tobacco vote, Big Dave, later. Later, you got to finish the first one first. Big Dave's already got his vote ready. He's gonna vote 4 times again. Uh, so she went to Pittsburgh and she was coming back on Thursday, and then she was coming back on today. And she called me this morning and said she's probably not gonna come back until tomorrow morning. And then about 3 o'clock this afternoon, she sent me a text message to let me know that her dad wanted to go somewhere, and she was thinking about staying to take him. And so this is probably going to turn into another one of these month-long sojourns on her part, but that's okay. I'm getting by just fine. I've not hurt myself very badly, and I'm eating. So yeah, it's all good. Yes, Patrick, of course, and I feel a little silly saying this, but we lost Pee Wee Herman as well this week, and I do hope that Mr. Herman rests in peace. Mr. Rubens, I guess is his real name. I wasn't a fan of Pee Wee, but I know a lot of folks were, and he brought joy and happiness into a lot of people's lives. So I hope he's at peace. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, indeed, Cliff, indeed. But we get by. Yes, those high notes on Take It to the Limit were something, Doug. That really was something. Flint Hill Briar ordered a tin of Rustica. Well, that should be interesting. Ah, Cliff, you're going to make me all nostalgic and teary-eyed, and I'm going to have to end the live stream early and go call my wife. So cut that out. Patrick Grant's got some of that wonderful low country natural Virginian burley and a mere hawkbill. Nice. Smarty Buff loves it when his wife leaves town because he hates polishing the silverware. Well, I'll tell you, my wife doesn't make me polish silverware. She rarely makes me do anything. Joseph Tamanini signing in from Montana. Good to see you, Joseph. America Troy's got it down pat. Wife leaves, cake comes out, cops are called. I had a high school friend that had the same thing when his parents left. I lost track of how many times I had to plaster something in this guy's house. It was good practice for plastering, but because somebody would get drunk and would throw something or fall into the wall, or one time somebody punched the ceiling. It was great. That was a fun one, because if you're not really good at plastering things, you got to plaster a ceiling. That was interesting, and I'm sure they knew, you know. Anyway, what was I talking about? Rearrange all the furniture while she's gone? No, foam. I just try to keep the status quo and be happy. That's all I can do. Robert Miller, hello. A Piper on the 45. Good to see you too. Brian Dawkins, hello. He says it's been hot and dry in Vancouver. We've been surprisingly cool. It was only 63 this morning when I got up. Really surprised by that. Jeffrey Feinberg's got Astley number 99 Royal Tudor. Hit a Stanwell Bulldog, model 32. Kept sounding like two-door. So anyway, she's off, and I try my best to be a good husband, and I'm not one. We say it and we kid about it and everything, but I'm not one of these happy wife, happy life guys. I don't really believe that. I believe that you work together on things, and sometimes you're not going to be happy, but decisions have to get made, and such is life. And if she wants me to do something ridiculous, I'm probably not going to do it. But every once in a while, I just want to make her happy. So you can tell she's not home. And if you haven't noticed, I'll ask anyone here if there's anything you can see right now to let you know my wife is not home. I'll give you about 3 minutes to think through that. The Smooth Piper, how you doing, Peter? He's got Haunted Bookshop in the Friday 7 Ellie. Very nice. You're right, Michael Case. Tomorrow night, I will be watching Svengoolie with a pipe full of crooner if she doesn't come home. Absolutely. Oh, that'll do it for you, Flint Hill. No, these are my normal Friday chin whiskers. I shave on Sunday mornings. Good guess, though. Todd Munson, you're extremely close, but it's not so much that it's dirty, because it's really not dirty. It's only been worn one day, I promise. The vein in my neck is not showing. Oh, poem. That's terrible. Tin of Crooner would have been a good one. No furnace. What? Now I did turn the furnace off, but that's not it. Dry Fly Fisher 11. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. No, it's the shirt, and I want you to notice this. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, that's her fault. And if she was here, she would yell at me for wearing this shirt. You're not gonna go on video, man. She doesn't sound anything like that. So she insists that before you do dishes, you have to clean the sink. Now maybe you all agree with that. I don't know. I don't understand it, because I don't fill the sink with water and soak the dishes in it. To me, that's really disgusting. When I hand wash the dishes, I hold them up. I have a scrubby thing with soapy water on it, and I scrub them down, and then I rinse them under running water and put them in the drying rack. I do not submerge them in water. I don't want them to touch the sink, because the sink is not clean, because I didn't clean it. So every time she does dishes, she goes through this whole series of, first you got to take everything out of the sink, and you got to clean it and rinse it, and then you fill it, and it takes her forever. So, okay, Todd, well, you win the award tonight. And I did give the dogs a bone, Joseph. Thank you for asking about them. You win the award, Todd, and I don't know what it is, but we'll figure something out. So I'm gonna do, and I'm a good husband, so I haven't cleaned. I think she's coming home today, and I don't yet know. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do up the dishes this morning, and I better clean the sink. So she uses this soft scrub stuff, and it's a half full container. And it's like a thick, I don't know what to call it. It's like a thick. It's not a gel, but it's thick. So I go to squirt it out, nothing comes out. So I have to do one of these to get the stuff that's at the bottom up to the squirty part in the top. And in doing that, it splashes on me, and the darn stuff has bleach in it, and it ruined a perfectly good shirt. But the sink's clean. So, yeah. So that's why I'm wearing the shirt in defiance tonight. I, of course, am just kidding. White Ash says it's saner there. Paper plates, indeed, Codridge. I don't like paper plates, though. I eat a lot of stuff out of bowls. Like I eat a lot of salads and things like that. So It's another huge difference between my wife and I really don't understand it. I told her I want to do a cook-off someday with her because we can cook exactly the same thing, and she will use, I'm not exaggerating, like 5 times more stuff has to be cleaned after she cooks exactly the same thing. You know, she's got to have like mixing bowls out because she chopped peppers and she chopped onions, and they need to be put into mixing bowls before they're put into the pan to saute them together. And, you know, stuff like that. So me, I have a chopping board in the pan it's going, and I chop the things in the order that I want to put them in the pan, and that's how it works. So I have very little to clean up after myself. But anyway, yes, I'm such a bad boy. That's right, Ed. All that matters is a clean sink. You're right. And yes, Tim, the lesson is don't clean. Wear an apron. No, Big Dave, I'm sorry. I'm not going to wear an apron. I'll only go so far. I could wear my pipe carving apron. That's what this thing is here. But I don't think she'd let me upstairs with it. Kind of grubby. I might regret doing this. You know, that's a nice manly apron. I could wear that. I'm never going to get that back on there, am I? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, Brian, you got to rinse the dishes thoroughly. I know. Flint Hill, when you get done eating his noon-type meal, there are several dirty bowls in the sink. Yeah, that'll certainly do it. That's one thing. Going through the Noom experience, I eat almost no processed foods now. You know, nothing comes out of cans or boxes. Occasionally, we'll have a can of green beans or something like that. I don't really count that, but you know, we never have like a box of macaroni and cheese or something like that. So there is more preparation involved in that case, so it's harder to do with fewer dishes. Oh, same method. Okay, White Ash. Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm not alone. I don't want a chef's apron, Tim. No, I'm not hungry, Joseph. I'm doing just fine. The runcible spoon. Nah, Michael, it's not that. I mean, I do it my way most of the time. I just figured since she was gone for a while and coming home, I'd impress her with a clean sink. That's all. Not that I could tell. I mean, honestly, I can't. It's a sink. It gets wet all the time. Stuff goes down the drain. How do you know it's dirty? Yeah, we do have a very heavy cast iron pan, Patrick. So that's something to worry about. But nah, she's a sweetheart. You know, I think I lied about the ice content because the ice is all gone, sadly. I under-iced this one. Beat it my way, Michael. Yeah, but remember how that song starts. Or maybe it's not how it starts. Is the opening line in that, and now the end is near? I think that's what I was referring to. Yeah, Flint Hill, those are two things that I never went back to. I get that Ezekiel bread, which is a whole grain, and I will eat one slice of that each day for if I take lunch to work. I make a turkey sandwich, and I just make a half of a turkey sandwich, and I have that with a salad. And that's it. That's the only bread I eat. And cheese, I've pretty much completely eliminated, except for like some Parmesan cheese on pasta, or maybe if I'm somewhere and there's a cheese tray, I might have a little bit of one of those stinky cheeses, something like that. But I don't get like cheeseburgers or anything like that because I don't taste the cheese. It's just adding calories. But I know a lot of people really love bread, and yeah. I'm guessing that's Steve commenting there. He says he usually just sets the dishes on the floor and lets the cat do the job. Bowls do rule, Poem. I use a lot of bowls too. Cheddar with horseradish. That sounds interesting. Romani Brothers pizza with extra fries. Wow. Fremunda cheese. Not sure what that is. Poem learned to eat out of a bowl from his dog. So I don't know if I told you the story before, but when I first met my wife, I was living in a one bedroom apartment that was actually in the attic of a friend's house. And I had the use of his kitchen, but I didn't like to go all the way downstairs and use a kitchen and have to clean up right away. So I had a microwave up there and a little mini fridge, and I was a happy guy. And I had a terrible diet. And I had this bowl, and it was wonderful. It was about the size of a dinner plate. It was about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches deep. And it had a plastic Tupperware type lid that snapped on it. And it had a little pour funnel spout if like you had liquid in it that you needed to pour off. And it was just the most useful bowl because you could cook in a microwave in it. You could eat right out of it. You could put the lid on it and put it in the refrigerator. And I just loved this thing. She called it my dog bowl. And she threw it away after we got married. And I still bring it up sometimes. Yeah, Flint Hill. So for me, pasta was the bigger problem. So I really do like pasta, not so much bread, but so I use a lot of whole grain pasta, and that seems to be okay. Oh, thank you, Peter. I'm glad you like that. Yeah, on Instagram. I put a pasta. It's penne with rigatoni, not rigatoni, penne with rigatoni, penne with sausage and fennel. It's a really really good recipe that my wife found. It's Ina Garten, if that means anything to you. If you just search fennel sausage pasta on Google, it'll be the first recipe that shows up, and it's really very very good, and even I can make it. So the Ezekiel bread white ash, you get it in it's in the frozen section in most stores. And it's in usually a red or orange kind of wrapper. They've got a couple different kinds. He means from under cheese? Oh, that's disgusting, Brian. I was thinking maybe Australian cheese, but I don't have any Australian. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I know you're referring to Tim, and it's not surprising that Tim had something like that, but yeah, you got to take care of those cast iron pans, Stanley, for sure. They just call it sprouted grain bread in store brands, Flint Hill. I've only stuck to the Ezekiel. The great thing about it, though, is that it's frozen. So, if you're going to use it, you have to like split off a slice. It is sliced, but you got to like get clever with a knife, and I balance it on the cut and then whack it, and a slice falls off. It took me a while to learn to do that. And then you have to toast it. So or let it thaw, I guess. So you're not going to go eating, a big, sandwich every couple hours or anything like that. It's kind of nice that it's locked away like that. Mr. Stan's asking about carbon steel pans. Really, what kind of show has this devolved into? Cooking and cookery advice. Um, I've never used a carbon steel pan. They look interesting, but I just we just have a couple of cast iron and then I don't know what you would call them. Non-stick non-stick steel pans. Couch, how you doing, buddy? One of the cats just smacked Ilva in the face. Yeah. Hey, that's my god dogter that's getting smacked around there. Yeah, that licorice taste is good, Peter. I enjoy that. Yeah, it is fun, Flint Hill. And the problem with wedging off the slices is you always get a couple that won't come off. Sometimes it's at one of the ends, but sometimes it's right in the middle. It's just because of the way the loaf baked, they're just welded together. And the only thing you can do is get as much off as you can, and sometimes it's two or three slices. I put them in the microwave and separate them that way. And you can refreeze it, or you can just toast it and eat a bunch of bread. Dogs like it too. So. Couch says carbon pans are freaking awesome. There we go. That's a fine endorsement. And he also has a ton of old cast iron. So. Okay, White Ash. Glad you got your car fixed. Take care, buddy. Oh, is that what you call it, Tim? Trying to get us back on track? Okay. We will get there. We will get there. That makes sense, Flint Hill. And one thing I've noticed is sometimes I don't do it, but my wife is a slow shopper. And the way our grocery store is arranged, so the Ezekiel bread is in the sort of what I call the hippie section. It's where all the gluten-free and vegan stuff is and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually right after the produce section. And you got to go through the rest of the store to get down to frozen food. So if you don't want to circle back to the beginning and pick it up then, there's a good chance it's going to thaw before you even get out of the store. And then it refreezes. And I think that's why sometimes it's harder to break apart. Oh, no problem, Brian. Hope all is well and hope you can get back later. Gary's already gained 5 pounds. Sorry, Gary. We'll talk exercise for the rest of the show to get that. No, we won't. Oh, cool, Tim. Well, we'll all be praying for you in your endeavors there. Tim's going to interview for an assistant manager position. I got my trout lighter. Thank you, Michael. Reminds me I didn't do enough trout fishing this spring. I'm going to try to do some fall trout fishing though. Oh, Tim, I didn't know that's what you wanted me to do. No, I actually don't have the 4 dot with me. I thought you meant that that's what you were doing. I'm sorry. But we never connected last week. Maybe we can have one of our very popular and rare 4 dot Sundays. That's true, Flint Hill. The not much in the frozen food section worth buying. The one thing, well, I know, Tim, I know we haven't had any. That's why I was saying they're very rare. We had one. Might have had two. Yeah, somebody once told me, Flint Hill, that there's no need to go in down any of the aisles of the grocery store if you want to eat and stay healthy. Just go in and go around the perimeter, because that's going to give you everything, produce and all the meat and the dairy and everything, without going into any of the processed stuff. Obviously, that's a simplification, but oh, there is definitely a delay, Tim. Sometimes as much as 30 seconds. Plus, I'm slow. Man, I had a heck of a time getting going this morning. I just couldn't get into gear. And this has been a week of dealing with people. I don't like dealing with people. I like playing with data. If the people could just send me data and keep quiet, I'd probably be a much happier guy. Yes, indeed. A week from Sunday is Carter Hall Day, Michael. I actually have a reminder that showed up on my phone this past week, and so yes, we're going to have to do something to celebrate Carter Hall Day, the birthday of Carter Hall, which gladly survived its biggest threat in its history. Joseph's going to put me on a red wine diet. Oh no. Yeah, Smarty Bob, Carter Hall Day it's very unusual, but we happen to know the birth date of Carter Hall, um, just because of the way things evolved and it being purchased by, I think it was R.J. Reynolds. So we actually know the day that they launched it, and it winds up being, is it the 13th? I think it's August 13th. Ah, Couch is ready. He's got 2 tubs of Carter Hall. Yeah, I used to smoke a lot of Carter Hall. I mean, it was my go-to for a really long time. And I don't know, to be honest, I kind of lost a taste for it. I don't know what happened, but it just didn't really appeal to me anymore. I still have a fair amount of it. I smoke it occasionally. And Peter's godfather's birthday is August 13th. He was born the same day as Carter Hall. I should check and make sure. I got the date right. Yes, August 13th. Sunday, August 13th, as Michael said. Yes, the original Hawkman was Carter Hall, and there's also a Navy vessel named Carter Hall, which is still active, I believe. Cole, Big Country Briar, booked his room for the Ohio Pipe Show. Good to see you, Cole. I have also booked a room. It's going to be an interesting trip because I think I'm going to go a little early and spend some time with my father-in-law, but my wife's going to stay here. So this will be the first time I've been with the in-laws without the wife as a buffer. We'll see if I can get them mad at me finally. But no, he's a good guy. I like hanging out with him. He's in his 90s now, and he's getting how should we say, interesting. Couch is going to smoke some Dark Horse after work. That's a John Patton blend. Good stuff. Very good stuff. I was given a pound of that by a fellow who I believe his name is Robert, and he was the inspiration for that blend. There was another blend that they made, and he said, I like this, but it would be much better if you did this and that to it. And they went and created a new blend for him, and it's good. I like Dark Horse. There's a lot of John Patton blends I like. Turnabout is fair play, says Michael Case. I wonder what I did. But it's probably true. There is no SS Captain Black Grape. That is true, Tim. That tells you something right there. I don't think it's named after Jimmy Carter, Smarty Bob. I looked this up back when I was making the Carter Hall video. If anybody's interested, I do have a video on Carter Hall that goes into the history and everything. Now, I haven't thought about it in years, so I have no idea what's actually in that video other than me talking about it, but I know I did a lot of research for it, so. I don't think Davy Jones would want the SS Captain Black Grape, Flint Hill. Ah, I see, Michael. Yes, turnabout is fair play. In that case, yeah. Lurker Troy says, too bad about the grape. Yeah. Teach his own there, Troy. The engineering building at the U.S. Naval Academy has a new name, Carter Hall. Okay, but that's not the same as the ship. So they named a building after him, and it's a hall, therefore they're calling it Carter Hall, which is interesting. I wonder if you're allowed to smoke in it. No, you're not allowed to smoke in it. Tim, I would sign that petition. The SS I Hate Roger Goodell. I would definitely sign that petition. In fact, I think a lot of people would sign that petition, Tim, so you should put that together. I think I may be done with the Haunted Bookshop. And maybe one more light. And I've been doing, well, I'll update you on last week's tobacco while we finish this up, and then we'll pick this week's tobacco. But I did well. If you saw my Sunday video, I couldn't smoke the mystery tobacco. I just couldn't do it. I did one more bowl. I did a bowl after last Friday, and then I did one for the Sunday morning video, and that was it. I couldn't smoke it. I threw it away. It was just bad, and it was bad because it had dried out and lost the topping, and the tobacco wasn't that good to begin with. So, Gary Edmondson says can't smoke on ships or base, and no Zippos from the command. Well, that's unfortunate. Why is Haunted Bookshop so popular? Well, Poem, I think it's because it's so good. Never tried Chatham Manor, but I've heard good things about it, Jim PM. I haven't given the choices yet, Big Dave, and that's not on the list. It's not going to be very good. I did give it my best try, Peter, and you know the sad thing is it was so bad I didn't even want to send it to anyone. It was, and it's my fault. It's entirely my fault. It was good. I smoked it when I first got it, and it wasn't like my favorite tobacco, but it was good. And just leaving it in the bag all that time ruined it. So I feel bad about that. Okay, we are done with the Haunted Bookshop. So I thought maybe I should show you the pipe before we pick the tobacco, because maybe that'll affect your choice. Maybe. And tonight, based on some comments from last week, I went and dug out my Rop. This is a Rop cherry wood, which is actually made from cherry, and hopefully you can see that's actually a tree branch with bark on it that the pipe's made out of, and the shank is also made from a tree branch. And this actually, I'm not going to unscrew it now because it's wedged in there, but this is actually threaded into the shank is threaded into the stummel. So these come apart, and it's got some real interesting features. So the stem, which is a fairly normal stem, a traditional stem, well actually this is more traditional, but common stem, is actually seated with a cork gasket inside the shank, which is a nice feature because the cherry wood is going to be much more dynamic than than briar would be, and this kind of guarantees that you always have a nice airtight fit there. So smoked this earlier today. It's a wonderful pipe. The only reason I don't smoke it more is that it's a very small bowl, but I love it and I highly recommend. Now this was an estate Rop. I don't remember the year or anything like that, but it's an older one. I don't know if the newer ones are the same quality, but I highly recommend at least the estate versions. Why didn't Mrs. Howell smoke a pipe on Gilligan's Island? They didn't pack a pipe, Big Dave, because they didn't have room to. The money took up all the room. It is an awfully small Rop, Tim. I think it would actually fit inside of yours. Tim's got one of the largest Rops I've ever seen. Lurker Troy says Mrs. Howell was smoking hot. All right, so we've actually, I didn't finish my story about last week's tobacco. So I threw it away and I went back to the St. Bruno. And I've pretty much finished that. I'm going to donate. There's maybe one more bowl there, and the rest is going to get donated to the 2023 blend jar. So that's done. And actually, we've only got 2 pouches left. And then we're going to move on to jars and tins and stuff like that. So we're going to keep this going because it's helping me work through the tobaccos that I'm otherwise not going to smoke. And it's saving Haunted Bookshop for the rest of you. I think that's a good thing. If Everett was here, he'd applaud. Big Dave, we could put Mixture 79 on the list, but I've got a lot of that, so I'm not going to smoke the whole bucket. But I guess we could put that on the list. I was going to wait. You know what? No, I want to get rid of these 2 pouches. So let's stick to the 2 pouches and see where it goes. And I'll tell you what, if you pick, so there's probably maybe 2 bowls left of the 1022 modified. This is from my friend Jim Finn from the Speakeasy forum. And the other one is the crooner. If we pick the crooner, I can finish it up quickly. I'm sorry, if we pick the 1022, I can finish it up quickly, switch over to the crooner, and next week we'll have completely new selections, including tins and jars. So, you got two choices. It's going to be 1022 or crooner. You got to vote for crooner. Michael Case wants the crooner. Another vote from crooner from Armchair Piper. 3 votes for crooner, 1 for 1022. 4 votes, 5 votes for crooner. Crooner's running away from it. Holmes says crooner, but I have to sing. Gary wants me to live it up with crooner. I could probably finish them both up this week, Smarty Bob. You're right. You're right. But I wanted to enjoy the... Well, you know what? Maybe what I'll do is, since crooner seems to be running away with it, I'll smoke the crooner now. But you've all heard me talk about crooner. I've done recent videos on crooner. So what I'll do is, I'll have the 1022 on Sunday. I'll finish that up this week. I'll get through as much of the crooner as I can. And then we can start fresh next Friday with some tins and jars. What's 1022? It's I believe it's a Virginia Burley blend that my friend Jim Finn modified somewhat, and I think it's actually a speakeasy blend to begin with. I'm not singing a song. I'm not doing my Bing Crosby impression. It's not going to happen. But we will load up the crooner in the raw. And crooner, as you well know, is basically cube cut burley with deer tongue. I don't remember if it's got a little Virginia in it. It might. Good stuff though. And I'm just gravity packing it. I'm not pushing it down too hard because it doesn't like that. Crooner wins, Peter. Indeed it does. Tim has to do his Bing White Christmas sometime. Well, Tim, I can work that out for you if you wanna call in and do a little White Christmas this Christmas. We could do that. Who's your turtle dove? Big Dave wants to know, what are some blends that produce copious amounts of white smoke? It's a good question, Big Dave. You know, that seems hit and miss to me, but for some reason, I think a lot of Kia blends produce more white smoke than others. I don't know, Poem Sammy was pretty popular in his day. Anyone see Santa around lately? If you're talking about who I think you're talking about, and we don't want to upset the children, Cole, and let them know who Santa. We don't want to destroy their illusions of Santa, but he got a new job and he's working Friday nights, but he's doing well. Moved into an apartment that doesn't let him smoke, apparently, which is bizarre. But yeah. Doug, it's a ROP. It's a ROP cherrywood. And Colorado 7 card zip. Oh, man. Yes, Peter, white burley does give a lot of smoke as well. Good point. Smarty Bob heard ho ho ho. I can't believe it's still doing the ho ho ho. I thought I had exercised that. Old Uncle Mike, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you. Sailor blends with lots of black Cavendish, make lots of white smoke. Well, there you go. I don't smoke many of those, so I'll take your word for it. That is convenient, Michael. I'm not surprised though, because, well, I am surprised because this is a lot smaller. Pardon me for a moment. I thought I had a stem back here. Oh well, I don't know where it went. I would think this would not be the same diameter, but they are because of that cork gasket. You can fit different size stems in them. Him smoking his ROP as well. Santa had to get a summer job indeed, Cole. Times are rough. Doug, are you asking the way a cherry wood shape smokes or the way cherry wood pipes made of cherry smoke? I'll answer the latter because I think that's what you're asking. Andrew Sirigliano, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. To be honest, Doug, I cannot tell that this is any different from a briar. But this was in a state, it's an older ROP, probably quite old. The newer ones, I don't know much about them. And I think the trick is to get a good layer of cake in it. Once you've got the cake and you don't ream it down to the wood, it should smoke just like a briar and never burn out. But I think a lot of people over-ream them and burn the cherry wood because it's not going to be as heat resistant as briar. That's a recipe for lots of white smoke and a really bad tongue burn, Flint Hill. Pipes of old, are you asking me if I'm making pipes? Well, that's the plan. Oh, you're smoking in your apartment. Got you, Tim. Actually was playing with a block today, putting some lines on it and such. I've just got so much stuff to do. I made a couple, and then it's one of these rabbit hole things. I made a couple of pipes. I said, oh, I need a bigger lathe. I got a bigger lathe. Oh, I need a better sharpening system. I got a better sharpening system. I don't have any place to put it. Now I'm building a cabinet for that, and you know, it just keeps going. It's a moving target. But yes, I'm going to try to make pipes. Not that I'm going to try to make pipes and become a pipe maker. I'm just interested in doing it, hobby-wise. It is made in France, Smarty Bob, yes. Jim PM says the C&D mocha sucks. Trying the espresso right now. I don't like any Cornell and Deal aromatics except for autumn evening. Yes, Nigel Bruce did smoke a cherry wood in several of those. And cherry wood is one of the identified pipes that Sherlock Holmes smoked. He smoked a cherry wood, a black clay pipe, and another one that was just referred to as a pipe. If I'm remembering right. I'm not sure about the third one. There were three that were identified. One of them was a cherry wood. Okay, Tim smoking his pre-war 4-dot with Haunted Bookshop. Okay. I am going to make some more pipes, Big Dave. I'm actually accumulating quite a bit of briar, which is a nice thing, nice problem to have. I got, I just got a couple of milk crates so that I can keep the briar in that. I put a shelf up here, up, you can't see it, but it's up above there to give myself more storage, and this is part of the problem. Because I'm running out of space down here. I got so much junk. And I thought, oh, that's going to be great. I got this big shelf that I'll put stuff on. And then I thought, oh, I got to put all this briar somewhere. So I put it up there, and then that took up the whole shelf. So I got some milk crates that I could sort it into. I've got 3 levels, and the bottom level is stuff that I just bought last year. And then I got some of the stuff I've got is about 7. I've had it for about 7 years. And that's not because I'm smart. It's just because I never get around to doing things I don't want to do. That's interesting, Brian. Brian Woodward says that cherry caramelizes with heat and is quite fire resistant after that, and glass blowers actually use it to shape molten glass. Very cool. I did not know that. Lord Hogarth wishes Nigel Bruce had smoked hemlock. Well, tell us how you really feel, Lord Hogarth. Yeah, he was a bit of a buffoon in the Holmes. His Watson was a bit of a buffoon. There we go. Ah, Big Dave. Wait a minute. Tim, why are you bringing up Mrs. Cunningham? Is it just a random attempt to get us back on what seems to be our trek? Will I auction or sell any pipes that I make? I'm not going to auction them unless there's some, cause. And I did for that auction that we did for a friend a while back. I auctioned off the second pipe that I had made, which I was kind of uncomfortable doing, but it was for a good cause. Will I sell any? I don't know, Big Dave. It just kind of depends on how things go. My plan is to make 10 billiards, and so far I've made 2 plus the first one, which was just kind of messing around. And I'm probably going to give a lot of those away just to get feedback, and we'll see. I don't plan on it, but I'm not saying no to it either. Someone brought up Aunt P. So that's why you said Mrs. Cunningham? Okay. Tim Fournier's got the other 4-dot, Doug. I think Couch has one too. Tim, what is the shape of your 4-dot? And Couch, if you're on, maybe you can let us know the shape of yours. And if anybody else wants to chime in. Oh, thank you, Big Dave. That's kind of you. Ed also has a 4-dot. So he's part of the club. Oh, so Tim says his is a Lincoln, which is square on the outside, and Couch thinks his is a Dublin. That's kind of you, Joseph, but that's one thing I will not do. I learned my lesson the hard way from the pipe repair business. I cannot work if somebody's waiting for what I need to do. I just can't do it. I've got enough stress with my day job. If I'm going to make a pipe, it's got to be something I want to do just for fun, and I'll finish it when I finish it. So I won't be taking commissions for sure. This is crazy to even talk about because I haven't made enough pipes to even have this conversation. But if it got to that point, I would just make whatever I was interested in making, and if you guys wanted to buy it, then fantastic. If not, I got another pipe. Or I'll give it away because my wife tells me I when I started making them, she's never complained about my pipes, but when I started making them, she suddenly said, "Well, what are you going to do with all of these?" Absolutely, Tim. Take a picture of it, and I'll put it in the show slides. Yeah, we got a 4 dot club going, Ed. Charlene Darling from Andy Griffith. I do not remember. Was Charlene? Was that Andy's girl? I actually thought that the woman that Barney was with was kind of a nice looking lady. Sassini decides if it's a 4 dot poem. It's got 4 dots on it. Oh, thank you, Ed. Well, you're on the short list, buddy. All right, Couch's shift is over. Thank goodness. Oh, Doug's got quite a list. You'll send it to me. I hope you mean the picture, Tim. Oh, Charlene was the hillbilly girl. Okay, yeah, she was something. Oh, gee, Michael, I'm so sorry to hear that about Mutton Chop. Good Lord. Tired of being defunded. Well, then don't make pipe videos. I mean, come on. Membership only. I mean, honestly, oh, by the way, be proud of yourselves because it happened here. It definitely happened on the live stream. My channel has now been the channel in total is now age restricted. It's not just that one video, it's the entire channel. If you're not signed in and you're not over the age of 18, you cannot watch my videos. All right, Tim, I will get that in the show for in the slides for next week. Can't guarantee it'll show up because there's a lot of slides in there, but it'll be there. Would I make any videos about making pipes? I might, Big Dave. I don't know. That we're talking about stuff that's really far down the road. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Okay, so Doug's clarifying for us. So I forget who. I think Poem asked who decides that it's a 4 dot. So Doug says that a 4 dot has to be absolutely flawless briar and aged at least 2 years. Otherwise, it's a 2 dot or a second tier. Let's talk about Daisy Duke, says Tim. I wasn't a Daisy Duke fan. Come to Ohio, it's nice and hot. You know, it was beautiful here today. I don't know what happened. It went from being blazing hot to just being really beautiful weather. Yes, all of my pipes are named Couch. That is true. You can, of course, rename them when you get them, but I don't advise it. It would be bad mojo. Charlene Darling was the hillbilly girl with 4 brothers. Yes, the Dillards. That's right, Big Dave. That's right. And they would perform. They would do some music sometimes, and Charlene would dance, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Peter's finished up his haunted bookshop. He's moving on to Amphora Original in a squat bulldog. Very nice, Peter. A pipe making blooper show. Oh, that we'd have to clean up the language quite a bit. Jim PM's asking, what does YouTube membership only mean? So my understanding, I get these things from YouTube saying new way to make money, create a membership thing, and I think it's basically that you would, if I did that, there would be videos that you couldn't see unless you paid to be a member. I think that's it. I haven't looked into it. I don't care to look into it, to be honest. Yeah, the Dillards actually had some good music, Michael. Definitely. Well, if the kids start smoking pipes, yeah, I just don't see it happening. But how could it be a bad thing these days? Lost in the 50s. Just watched the Dukes of Hazzard before this. Favorite TV show. Daisy Duke was the cutesy girl in the short shorts on the Dukes of Hazzard, Doug. Ah, Cole's been at the golf tournament all day. Yeah, it was a great day for that, for sure. People just joined to donate $5 a month. Oh, okay, so you don't have to set the videos to members only. Okay, thank you, Brian. I've thought about Patreon. I know some folks that do, like Trevor Talbert. Trevor's a great guy. We had him on as a guest back when I was doing the conversations with pipe smokers, and he makes incredible pipes. Um, he has a Patreon where you can see exclusive videos of him doing pipe making, and he actually takes you through the process in a lot of detail. Like he'll tell you things that most pipe makers wouldn't tell you about how they do the work and stuff. And I've been a Patreon member for Trevor for quite a while, uh, in part just because I want to support him. And I've thought about that. I've thought, is there something back when I was doing the restoration work? Was there some value to that people would think it was worthwhile to, a dollar or two a month, something like that. But I couldn't justify it. I just didn't think I had anything that would be valuable enough for folks to pay for. So I never seriously considered it. Yeah, the monetization thing, it's okay. You don't make that much, and I can't imagine that somebody like Mutton Chop was making that much more. It's silly. It's like maybe maybe $10 to $20 every couple of months. Uh, just you're not making that much. So why anybody would get mad about them demonetizing, I don't know. But then you're making videos for the wrong reason, is the bottom line. Daisy Duke was based on Daisy May from Little Abner, says Michael Case. That makes sense. Yeah, Boss Hogs was funny. They're Smooth Piper. Joseph Tamanini is asking if there's any advice on pipe shape. I don't know, Joseph. I like billiards, but it's a personal preference thing. Well, Doug, now that you mention it, Donald Duck did wear a jacket but no pants. That's a little disturbing, isn't it? Couch, you got banned from Patreon? How the heck did you do that? Actually, don't tell us. Probably don't want to know. And I can also kind of imagine. No, wait, it wasn't Roscoe, darling. It was, oh, what was his name? What was Uncle Jesse's real name? Denver Pyle, wasn't it? But yes, he was Charlene's father, and he was on the Dukes of Hazzard. Yes, Lost in the 50s. It was Denver Pyle. Well, Tim, you can if you pay for it. And you're right, White Ash. I don't blame anybody for making an honest buck. I blame them for complaining about the inability to make an honest buck on somebody else's platform without paying anything for it. I mean, I never understood the people that whined about the YouTube monetization stuff. You know, it's interesting to me. I The Walton's grandpa was the old mountain man on Jeremiah Johnson, which was a great movie, says Pipe Ninja. What was his name? Will Geer was Grandpa Walton. Wow. All it took was an email couch. That's impressive. I never paid attention to the breath method. I understand it. Ah, Tim's giving us some inside information there. Oh, there you go, Flint Hill. Friday night was Dukes of Hazzard night, and Saturday was Smurf Day. Were there any pipe smokers on TV shows in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Asked Big Dave. Uh, yes, Lord Hogarth. Yes, indeed. Oh, couch, please. You guys are going to get me in trouble. Because he has his fans, and good for him. You know, I don't hold anything against him. It just wasn't my thing, and you know, I hope he's successful. I have no reason to hope otherwise. But yeah, there's some comedy in there for sure. Pipe smokers on TV shows in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There definitely were a lot. At least in the 50s, you know, there was Steve on My Three Sons, the dad on My Three Sons. He was a pipe smoker. Ah, Gary Edminster got that in there. Fred McMurray, yes. There were if you're not looking for like main characters, that you know, Perry Mason is a great show to watch for pipe smoking. There's a lot of pipe smokers on Perry Mason. Certainly a lot of movies. I believe there was quite a bit of pipe smoking on Hawaii Five-O. John Boy smoked a pipe on the Waltons. There you go, Smarty Bob. Father Knows Best Dad. It was Danny Thomas, wasn't it, Todd? Couch, that's an interesting point. Beaver's dad smoked a pipe, says Couch. I don't believe that's accurate. Or at least he never smoked it on screen. There's an episode of Leave It. So I actually watched a lot of Leave It to Beaver because it used to be on in the morning here. It still is on in the morning on MeTV. And I don't know how I got into this, but I would just get up and I would put it on, and I would watch it before I went to work. So I actually cycled through every Leave It to Beaver a couple of times, not that long ago. And there's an episode where Wally is having a party, and Ward and June go to bed early so that Wally can, have a party with his friends. And it's, a couple of guys, a couple of girls. It was Leave It to Beaver, for goodness sakes. And there's this whole joke about Ward wants to check on them, but he needs an excuse to do it. And he decides that he'll go down and tell him that he's looking for his pipe. And that's the only time it was mentioned that he might smoke a pipe, but I think there was even a reference to the fact that he didn't. And then there was another episode where Beaver or Wally, I don't remember who, had a friend whose father smoked a pipe, and he'd stand at the mantelpiece and smoke it, and they described him in that way. And I think at one point they asked Ward why he didn't do that. So I don't think that Ward Cleaver was a pipe smoker. There is an episode where Beaver gets a pipe and tries to smoke it. Yes, and he may have put coffee in it or something, but he actually bought that pipe, Couch. Tim thinks mutton chop might be on the spectrum. Tim, I shouldn't have read that. I think a lot of us are, Tim. I know I am. Eddie Haskell was a typical creep. Big Dave thinks Mrs. Cleaver smoked in secret. I think Mrs. Cleaver just used those amphetamine-based diet pills. Yes, Fred McMurray did smoke off screen as well. Ground coffee cigarette, huh, Flinthill? Bet that was interesting. Mrs. Cleaver was pretty, Big Dave. Yeah, she was a looker in her day. Arthur Godfrey smoked a pipe, says Gary Edminster. Doug, I thought that's what all women in the 50s did. I wasn't around then, so I just assumed that all women in the 50s would wear a ball gown while vacuuming. In heels, too. Yes, Mother Little Helper. Indeed, Michael. Walter Cronkite smoked a pipe, says Poem. There you go. And we'll give Groucho an honorable mention for smoking a cigar on You Bet Your Life. William Conrad smoked a pipe on Canon, says Pipe Time. Yeah, there's a surprising number of photographs of women smoking pipes from that period of time, Poem. The 30s, and yeah, cigarettes pretty much ruined that for women, I think. We can move on to the Stones. Hey, Mick Jagger just turned 80 years old. I just can't believe that. Barbara Billingsley speaking jive on the airplane was hilarious, Big Dave. That has got to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Couch always wears heels when vacuuming, but never does. Okay, Doug. So it wasn't all women. At least we know that. Yes, Greta Garbo did smoke a pipe, Flint Hill. That is true. I've not been able to. Well, there is a picture of her smoking a pipe, actually. I've not been able to find very much information beyond that. A couple of pictures. Of course, she was a very private person. Curly smoked cigars, says Joseph. That's quite believable. He certainly is, Paul. He certainly is infamous. But my goodness, 80 years old. I mean, it's hard to imagine. Alan Jackson died quite a while back, didn't he, Doug? Mo smoked everything, according to Gary. Ah, there we go. I didn't know that, Tim. I barely remember 77 Sunset Strip. I have a very dim memory of it. But Efren Zimbalist Jr. had a great collection of pipes in that series. That's pretty cool. Michael Kelly says that Garbo smoked Graybo pipes. Man, Garbo was I've talked about this before, but she's one of the two or three women that I tell my wife if I ever invent time travel, I'm going to leave her to go back in time for them. The first time I saw Nanoshka, I was a lot younger and wasn't married, didn't even know my wife. Not that it matters because she was dead, but I saw, not my wife, Greta Garbo. Actually, she may not have been dead yet, but she was close to it. Um, but I saw that movie, and there's something about her performance in that movie that just was beautiful. I was just taken by her in that movie. Did Kooky lend him a pipe? That's Cudger Jim. I forgot about Kooky. Annie McDowell smokes a pipe. Well, that's interesting, Richard. I didn't know that. David Ford appeared in 100 episodes of Dark Shadows, says Tim. Brian Dawkins never forgot the time Cannon stuffed a lit pipe in his suit pocket. Ben Cartwright on Bonanza? I just saw Patrick. I got a. Was it Patrick or. Oh, it was Poem. He's saying to Patrick Grant, Danny Thomas' daughter. Yes, Marlo Thomas was a hottie. Yeah. Oh, it was a pun, Garbo and Graybo. Gotcha, Michael. Gotcha. Oh, I hope the stream didn't freeze, Todd. The occasional clay piper says French comedian Jacques Tati smoked a pipe. George Jetson. I didn't know George Jetson was a pipe smoker. So how are we doing on time? Oh gosh, we're nearly done, and this has worked out well because I just finished up the crooner. Excellent selection, folks. So I will work on the crooner and the 1022 modified. Maybe it's, I can't really see that. Yeah, I think it's 1022. I'll talk about this on Sunday in case you're curious, and we'll move on to some interesting stuff next week. President Ford was an avid pipe smoker indeed. He was a K-Woody man. Yes, that's a great commercial, Tim. Fred and Barney smoking Winston cigarettes. That is a great commercial. Doug, you can see I had an adequate amount of lime in my gin and tonic tonight. Basely from the Jetson likes cigars, says Joseph. And yes, Lorne Greene was Ben Cartwright on Bonanza. He was also Commander Adama on Battlestar Galactica, back when it was a good show. I didn't like the remake of it very much. Reds Runs and Rocklighter. Yes, Gary, that was a hoot. Yes, Piper said, Schwarzenegger is a big cigar smoker, and he does occasionally smoke some pipes, too. Thank you for the reminder, Ed. Yeah, folks, if you can hit that like button, it really just helps get the word out. And especially now that we're going up against the membership folks, we need to get that word out. Tim says, let us fondly recall the talented Graham Chapman of Monty Python fame, all the wonderfully appropriate, inappropriate skits in which he appeared in with his trusty Briar. Yes, he was a pipe smoker and died far too young. And a fascinating man, too. So, yes, Graham Chapman is greatly missed. Jacques Cousteau smoked a pipe but never underwater. Yeah, Big Dave. And I wonder if he thought about ways to do it. Because I know when I'm wearing my face shield down here working on the lathe, I can't smoke a pipe. And it's the only thing I do that I can't. And I have to admit, I've thought about, should I put a hole in it? So I bet Cousteau actually thought about ways to smoke a pipe underwater. Never seriously. I don't seriously think about putting a hole in the face shield, but it crosses my mind. Cousteau smoked a bubble pipe underwater, says Doug Owen. That would be interesting. Good one, Tim. Laughing. Dan Rowan smoked a pipe quite frequently on that, yes. And I would imagine there was some pipe smoking on Hee Haw as well, but I can't say I remember it. Just seems like there must have been. And if this doesn't fit with the 50s, 60s, 70s theme, but if you haven't seen the series Endeavor, which is the prequel to Inspector Morse, they just finished the last season of it, so it's done. It's the last Morse show that will ever be made because there's a clause in Colin Dexter's will that doesn't allow anyone to use the Morse characters until he's dead for 50 years, I think, and he just recently died. If you haven't seen it, it's a great series. If you're familiar with Inspector Morse, it's definitely worth watching. If not, watch Inspector Morse because it's a great series, and then go and watch Endeavor. But that has a lot of really good pipe smoking scenes in it. One of the main characters is a guy named Fred Thursday, and he smokes a pipe quite frequently in it. And I'm guessing that actor is a pipe smoker in real life because he handles it really well. Jim PM, my answer to that is I wore one as little as possible. I probably, during that entire thing, I probably logged less than 2 hours wearing them. Just to run into the grocery store and run out. And I wouldn't have done that except I didn't want to get, it's not the grocery store's fault. I didn't want to get them riled up, so. Yes, great. That red Jaguar is really a beautiful car. And I don't want to give anything away, but it plays a very big role in the last episode of the series, of the Endeavor series, not Morse. That's a good way to go, Poem. Well, folks, we have reached the end. I've got just a little bit left here. I'm going to try not to stick lime on my nose. I did okay. Thank you for joining me, folks. I had a fantastic time, as always. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell your friends and family to join us next time. We need more members, but not paying members. Okay, I think I played with that enough. I hope you have a great weekend and fantastic week ahead. I will be back Sunday, smoking the 1022 and talking about whatever the heck happens between now and then. We'll see how that goes. And I hope you join us next Friday, where we'll be back and we'll do more of the same. So take care of yourselves, and until then, we will talk very soon. Bye, folks.